use this event to invalidate and disempower the momentum of the current movement for racial justice. Due to Brinsley's anti-police social media rant, the New York City Police Union leader is attempting to represent Brinsley's action as a reflection on the entire movement and to add credence to the narrative that police are the real victims in urban communities, despite the fact that the data source after data source reveals that the number of black men killed by police outnumbers Jim Crow era lynching, or the fact that the FBI data shows that whites were responsible for most of the killings in 2013. The public discourse as it relates to cop on black killings focuses on the supposed criminality inherent to urban black culture. The criminal act of individual blacks continue to be characterized as a cultural problem. Already, Brinsley's actions are being portrayed as a cultural pathology of urban blacks. You can see this in the picture of Brinsley that the New York Post chose to depict of him, donning a skull cap and blowing out what is presumably weed smoke. Interestingly, though, those who defended the officers responsible for the death of Michael Brown, John Crawford III, Eric Garner, and 12-year-old Tamar Rice received no such cultural inscription for white folks or law enforcement. In the days after the non-indictment of Darren Wilson in Brown's death, some media labeled the act of vandalism carried by a select few as violent rioting by the black community. However, police firing tear gas canisters into the crowd of black mothers and their children received substantially less recognition as the violent culture of law enforcement. Sensationalized one-dimension media portrayal in the news and popular culture create illogical scenarios about violent black men. Black people don't get to just be individuals. We are constantly under the white American gaze that is ready to reduce us to a stereotype. One of the more damaging stereotypes is of our lack of agency, that we have a cultural proclivity towards maladaptive groupthink. So when Ishmael Brinsley killed 2 cops, or when a rioter emerged from the ranks of black demonstrators, it figures appropriately in some mind regarding the violent nature of black folks. Brinsley's actions therefore become indicative of a larger problem within the black community.
I'm not taking responsibility for that guy.
Mm-hmm.
No. But I don't know. Do we take responsibility for every victory or every defeat or every fault of everyone who looks with a similar hue?
And here's another quick article. This
Which
is
one
in
this?
blackbluedog.com. Dr. Maurice Swigert says the media is manipulating your view of NYPD killings. I'm just reading this now. The media and police departments are evoking and summoning and beseeching the sympathy of the American citizenry in the wake of the murder of 2 New York police officers. First, let me preface this article to debase all trolls and operatives. Secondly, I offer my condolences to the family affected. Third, shooting innocent people is wrong. Killing innocent people is wrong. Lastly, I have friends and families that are law enforcement officers, and it will crush me to the bone to see them die like this. And he's absolutely correct. He's absolutely correct. It is a no-brainer that the media coverage in this country is biased, skewed, and under the aegis of an elite few. These elite few seek to dictate sentiments, craft public perception, determine narrative, decide the topics of discussion, script new anchors, and censor or promote who they feel. You believe that? Let me repeat that for you.
Yes, please do. I'm sorry.
It's a no-brainer that the media coverage in this country is biased, skewed, and under the aegis of an elite few.
Yeah.
These elite few seek to dictate sentiment, craft public perception, determine narrative, decide the topics of discussion, script news anchors, and censor or promote who they feel.
That's right.
Right? The Ferguson-Staten Island internet connection. The purported shooter of 2 NYPD cops is reported to have posted on Instagram that hint at a plan to kill cops. Hashtag quotes and Instagram icons are being considered as evidence of his intent. And I want to quickly say something about this.
Okay.
The intelligence community is now retroactively scoring the shooter's internet activity and cyber history for more clues that link this to a crime of retribution secondary to the grand jury decision of the Michael Brown and Eric Garner case. The New York Police Department is now engaged in discourse where they're using terms like wartime. The police department feels like they are at state of war with who? NYPD, please furnish the details of who your enemy is. Are you at war with the citizens that subsidize your income? This is very serious. This means that the many citizens who aren't murderers can unwittingly profile and digitally monitored without warrant.
Mm-hmm.
That is the problem that I'm seeing. That is the problem that I'm seeing. In that, if you decide to say, well, because the guy who started that T-shirt, remember that T-shirt that they started? I forgot what it was.
What, the I Can't Breathe T-shirt? Or?
No, the police T-shirt that they started.
I Can Breathe?
Yeah, I think it's I Can Breathe, right? Nobody's going to monitor his Facebook. But if we can now be profiled if you are posting things on Facebook, like you read an article and you say something about the article, you then can be profiled as a person who might be looking to injure someone to protect and serve. You got to, this is what it's saying here. This means that citizens who aren't murderers can be unwittingly profiled and digitally monitored without warrant. You may be considered a risk or a threat by basically expressing empathy for Michael Brown and Eric Garner on social media. This also comes on the heel of the Sony hacking situation, a loud cry reverberating across all the bigwigs from Hollywood to the government about increased internet control, cybersecurity, and don't forget about that net neutrality issue. The media took one event and contort it into another irrelevant topic of discussion that introduces the next item on the agenda.
Wow. So, oh my goodness. I mean, it's not surprising. This is really depressing. I don't know if I can start here.
Yeah.
I mean, we already know we're being watched. You already know you're being watched. And so your Facebook, your Twitter, and any other Instagram account you have is probably being monitored. Just as your phone calls could be in this age of freedom and all the information. And so you're really not free to say whatever you want to say, despite the liberties that have been
But they can say
granted
stuff.
to us.
They can say stuff.
Yes, and they manipulate the message, and I guess they could probably lure you into saying something if they wanted to.
Man, this is
It's really deep, yeah.
That's getting out of hand.
They know where you're at. They know where you spend your money. They know when you get your money out.
Yeah.
And what you're thinking about and who you're talking to. This is really awful.
Yeah, but I mean, and then the New York City police chief is blaming the mayor and protesters for police killings.
Mm-hmm.
Did you
I like
hear
this
that?
article here. It says, don't let them make a cop killer the face of the movement. When a black person commits a crime, the entire community is held responsible. You just read that.
It's crazy, man.
And then there's another link here. Conservatives freak out over black cop killer, but forget about the white conservative cop. So now the media has us focusing on this guy, the fact that he's black, and I guess he represents all of us. But the original crime, the choking of Eric Garner, the killing of Michael Brown, but especially the choking of Eric Garner, which everyone saw, and the 4 cops who were given immunity and allowed to testify, and the 1 cop being let go, that is no longer the issue. I mean, I'm not surprised that police are seen as targets, and this is a way to squash this whole movement by saying, "Well, let's not talk about this now. It's to protest your right, your civil right to assemble and to speak out against the government is at jeopardy, because now that causes, somehow, with the twisted message of people like Giuliani and the union head of the police, that is the cause of the tension.
But
The
you know,
demonstration itself is the cause of the tension between the police and the community. That doesn't even make sense.
But you can't be upset because you can't be upset with the head of the PBA, because that's what he's there to do.
Oh, okay.
He's there to defend the police at all costs. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the police do. He's there to defend them and find reasons why what they did, whether it was legal, illegal, is right to do. He's not there to say, well, if the guy doesn't have a gun, we shouldn't shoot at him. He's not there to say that. He's there to say that it looked like he had something.
Just like any lawyer would. Then.
Yeah, he looked like he's threatening.
Just like any lawyer would, even though you're guilty, we still have to pretend.
So I don't know why people are so upset with him. I'm not really upset with him.
Because he twists a mess. He's twisting it.
But that's what he's supposed to do.
I know. I don't care, but that's what he's doing.
That's what he's doing.
Okay, and I don't like it.
But he's not going to do anything different.
Okay. Well, I mean, I can understand your point, but
he's not going to do anything different. You see, people get these things twisted. Now, listen, look at the mayor. The mayor's more balanced, right? The mayor says what he have to say because he has a son who is black, and he's the mayor of the city. So he want peaceful marches, and if you misbehave, the police should arrest you. He don't want people walking around and killing cops. That's not what he wants, right? But is Pat Lynch is his name?
Yes.
And Pat Lynch is going to tell you that, listen, if a cop chokes someone, it's because that person was dangerous and he was only doing his job. And it so happened by him doing his job, he happened to choke this guy. He's not going to say, well, you listen.
That's to be expected. That's
right.
What you're saying.
Yeah, I don't care if the police officer shoot the guy point blank. Look at the guy in the steps, in the stairwell. He didn't say that he shouldn't have pulled his Joy's gun.
Again, let me reiterate what you said. Mm-hmm. Despite the fact that data reveal that the number of black men killed by police outnumbers Jim Crow era lynchings, or the fact the FBI show that whites are responsible for most police killings. He
doesn't focus on that. That's not his focus.
But that's our focus. Let's focus on that.
That's you people focus. You people. I wasn't elected.
It's worse when a black person kills a cop than a white person.
Listen, if I'm Pat Lynch, I don't care whether he's black, pink, blue, or brown. If he's a police officer and he kills an individual, he was doing it in the line of duty and he was trying to defend himself in some way.
Okay.
He's going to twist it however he can. That's it. But so people ain't uproar. Oh, my God, listen to what he has to say.
You know what? How can you forgive him, but you get so upset over Charles Barkley?
I'm not forgiving him.
Why do you get so upset over Charles Barkley?
I'm not forgiving him. Charles Barkley is not the president of the PBA.
But no,
he don't have no dog in the fight.
He must.
No, he doesn't.
No dog.
Pat Lynch has a dog in the fight.
Yes.
All the police officers. Pat Lynch has a dog in the fight. As a matter of fact, he has dogs in the fight.
Charles Barkley, and I can ignore that.
Charles Barkley has no dog in the fight. But he has no dog in the fight.
Okay.
None. Pat Lynch has. So Pat Lynch has a constituent that he has to defend. And he's going to defend that constituent at all costs. It doesn't matter. I don't care. Right? The guy could be blind and the police officer shoot him. Well, he point his eyes in a certain direction. He looked like, his eyes look kind of bulgy. His eyes look really dangerous. He gave me that stare.
He was so big and threatening.
He gave
black.
He gave me
we had to take him down.
That was a threatening look that he gave me. I saw into his eyes like a demon coming out of his eyes. So, I felt threatened. That's what Pat Lynch is going to say.
Time check, Anselm.
Why should
You're going to start pointing in a minute.
Why should people expect anything different?
I don't know, but I don't want to hear that. I just don't want to hear that right now. It's not good. It's
You know
not
what?
a good scene.
Before we go, let me give this Somo quote of the day, because the last time I did not give this